How will human life be in the year 2100? From underground housing to laser weapons. Have you ever realized how the world will be in the next 100 years? People or robots? In whose hands are the powers? Where will the technology arrive? How about the weather? Will going to space be a dream or a reality for people? In this video, we are going to take a look at these contents. Hello, my name is Abbas and welcome to the Black Mastery Box channel. I always try to provide you with better quality videos. Please subscribe to my channel and share with your friends to support me. In 1900, the world was in the midst of a machine revolution. In a situation where electricity gradually entered all homes and places, the work that was once done by hand was now done quickly and efficiently and economically by machines. Textile machines replaced the needle and thread, the tractor replaced the iron ox. Typewriters replaced pens and pencils, and cars replaced horse-drawn carriages. 100 years later, in 2000, machines once again pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible. Humans can now work in space thanks to the International Space Station. Thanks to DNA sequencing, we can now understand and identify the compounds of life. Computers and the World Wide Web, Internet, have changed the way we learn, read, communicate, and even revolutionized politics. Now the question is, what will the game-changing machines look like in 2100? How these machines will make life better and more convenient, cleaner, safer, more efficient, and more exciting. In the continuation of this article, we want to predict the lifestyle in 2100 from the point of view of experts, scientists, engineers, futurists, and organizations active in various fields such as climate change, military, infrastructure, transportation and space exploration, and how future technologies will change human life in 2100. Whether we adapt before we change. In 2023, our planet is in trouble. 2 centuries of burning fossil fuels have led to many environmental concerns and problems, the effects of which we are just beginning to feel and understand. In 2100, the sea level, according to estimates and forecasts, will rise between 30 centimeters and 3.5 meters, which will endanger the lives of billions of people. Despite many warnings and well-founded fears, humans have always had a good talent for adapting to circumstances. First, the biggest problem should be solved, which is environmental pollution. If there is no more fossil fuels, in 2100, what will we use to power our machines and our lives? Hydropower, electricity, and wind are all obvious choices, but solar technology and nuclear fusion are the most promising options. The classic joke about nuclear fusion energy is that widespread and global adoption of this energy will only take another 20 years, but private and public projects are frantically trying to obtain this carbon-free energy source that can build a perfect battery will result. But if nuclear fusion isn't available on an international scale, we'll always have the sun. Although solar energy is considered an important pole in the modern energy network, but in the year 2100, solar energy can play a much more important and bigger role in this field. Former NASA chief scientist John Mankins says that in 2100, it will be solar-powered and long-range wireless energy satellites that will send large amounts of solar energy to global markets and provide a clean energy source for decades to come. We'll provide for our planet. But trapping the sun's rays is only the first step, and we need to find a way to store this energy. In 2100, says Josh Savislak, a disaster resilience expert and senior director of the Doolittle Center, we've solved this problem well by producing solar energy collectors, from the paint on houses to the asphalt used on roads. In this way, people will be able to store this energy in small and portable solar energy storage devices that are the size of today's smartphones. He says, I will have a small device that I can use to start my car. Solar energy will be so useful for future humans that carbon energy and fossil fuels will be almost completely eliminated. Carbon-based energy in 2100 will be similar to today's gaslight, Savislak states. You will see it soon. But in places where they try to make history. While large-scale manipulation of the atmosphere and environment will remain controversial, many scientists think it's worth trying if we have any hope of making Earth bearable and habitable for humans. Also, the idea of giant machines that absorb pollution and produce life-giving compounds sounds fantastic. The biggest concern, however, is the catastrophic consequences of manipulating the atmosphere. In 2007, researchers at Harvard University concluded that Earth manipulation or engineering is very dangerous in the current situation. But what about in the 22nd century? What will such future technology be like? Maybe it's a fleet of large drones that cover the upper atmosphere and drop tons of tiny dust-like particles in the sky above us. Or perhaps they are machines that, according to Lisa Alvarez-Cohen, a professor of environmental engineering at the University of Berkeley, can effectively remove greenhouse gases not only from producing sources but also from the atmosphere on a large scale, so that the changes stop and reverse the international climate. Of course, we don't need to wait for another century to see such technologies because efforts and progress have already been made in this field. War, the rise of robotic soldiers. Ever since thinking humans, Homo sapiens, walked the earth, war has been an inevitable part of human life, and there is no doubt that we will witness war in the coming decades. But in the next century, wars may be very different from what we see today. In 2100, human casualties will be further reduced due to an increasing reliance on artificial intelligence, automation, and precision weapons. The integration of war machines, artificial intelligence and humans on the battlefield in the 22nd century is too difficult for our 2023 minds to comprehend. These human-slash-machine mind combinations may sound like the stuff of science fiction, but DARPA, the Pentagon's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, has said that we may soon see unprecedented use of human-machine integration in warfare, with user interfaces between these systems. Powerful and they're human operators who have the most perfect conditions possible. Gil Metzger, head of applied research at Lockheed Martin says, weapons will be smarter, faster, more versatile and less lethal. They will be able to perform operations with a higher probability of success, but with fewer side effects and fewer casualties. But not everyone believes that artificial intelligence and military automation is a good thing, and some believe that the idea of greater participation of artificial intelligence on the battlefield is too scary and could lead to a future in which robots with artificial intelligence will take over, which is depicted in the world of cinema in the form of Skynet and Gort. Not only will the soldiers change in the new century, the weapons will also be very different from today. Ian McKinney, Raytheon's chief intelligence and space expert, says that lasers and direct energy generation equipment will be popular weapons of the future because of their high accuracy. Also, the low cost per shot, near infinite magazine capacity, in a package smaller than an AK-47 rifle make laser weapons and direct energy generation a prime choice for future wars. McKinney says that if we move closer to using 50 kilowatts generators to power 50 kilowatts laser beams, it's not impossible to see laser rifles in the hands of soldiers in the year 2100 that will look a lot like the ones in the Star Wars movies. And we have seen similar movies. In November 2017, the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory awarded a contract to Lockheed Martin to design, develop, and manufacture a high-power fiber laser to be tested on a tactical fighter jet in 2021. Infrastructure, faster, more efficient and underground. Despite infrastructure problems around the world, there is hope that by 2100 many of these problems will be solved with the help of machines large and small. Imagine thousands, perhaps millions, of tiny machines working together as a team to quickly and precisely repair a bridge or build medical infrastructure during a massive flood. This is the potential future of nanotechnology. But while these little machines work for repairs, eventually an outdated transmission system will need to be replaced. In 2100, completely new high-speed rail systems or even hyperloops will replace the current old systems. Systems that are in the first phase of production will also be just the beginning. By the end of the 21st century, railway lines and tunnels will connect all large and small points in a zigzag fashion at the national and international level with a fast and efficient transportation system. In the year 2100, concrete could probably go from Washington, D.C. to New York in less than half an hour. Although many of these future technologies will help solve big problems, the ability to fully access resources that lie deep in the oceans beyond our reach could have a far-reaching impact. Despite the fact that 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, the supply of safe and clean drinking water is still a huge problem. More than 96% of the world's waters are undrinkable due to being salty or polluted for other reasons. But Alvarez Cohen from Berkeley University believes that the new century will solve this problem and machines will be produced that purify water with high efficiency, and thus we may see the end of the global water crisis. After this big problem is solved, one more need of humanity must be met, and that is housing. According to most estimates, the Earth will host 11 billion people by the year 2100. Which means that there will not be much space left for human life and survival. But under our feet, there is still a lot of space and, of course, bigger machines that can make large and abundant tunnels under big cities and provide the necessary infrastructure for underground construction at a reasonable speed and cost. Construction underground will solve the current infrastructure crisis of humanity and provide more spaces for human life in the future. Underground systems are reliable and have more protection against various elements. We can leave our lives on Earth and be freed from the noise and isolation caused by the many roads and highways. Transportation system, on the ground or by rocket. Humans have always dreamed of a future with flying cars. Building autonomous futuristic airplanes is actually a lot easier than building self-driving cars because there's less worry about them hitting something in the sky. Eventually we will reach a point where we won't even need pilots anymore. Former U.S. Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao says that by 2100, she thinks unmanned taxis will take over the skies along with piloted airplanes. These new technologies will increase the speed of travel so much that we will be able to travel to distant parts of the world in a fraction of the current time, and it will be entirely possible for people to go from one country to another by rocket for their daily commute. This kind of urban rocket travel is another dream shared by Elon Musk's SpaceX, which in 2017 announced plans to create a system that could get you anywhere in less than an hour. Deliver from the world, but most people will benefit from transportation programs that are more land-based. Self-driving cars and trucks will result in less traffic, fewer accidents, and less infrastructure needed. But automation in self-driving will not only change the way people move, but it will also change the way things move. In 2023, millions of tons of goods will be transported from one point to another in a fraction of an hour, but in the next 80 years, most of the goods will be transported by drones or pneumatic tubes. It's even possible that transportation itself will disappear if 3D printing technology can accommodate the idea of a Star Wars replica. These machines can make anything for you, from shoes to mushroom pizza. Space, man's new home. Today, working and living in space is only possible for a few. But in 2100, it will be a daily routine for everyone. The idea of elevators that transport us into space has been inspiring people since the late 19th century, but making them operational is much more difficult than imagined. The basic idea is for a car to be attached to a very strong line, perhaps made of carbon nanotubes, either by strong magnets or robots that would allow it to travel thousands of miles into space. These elevators can make space travel cheaper, easier, and more frequent. While various projects in this field are in the early stages, the main problem is that there is still no suction or suction tool that is strong, cheap, and light enough. But these problems will probably be solved by 2100, and space elevators will carry a very large part of the Earth's population into space. In fact, the main issue is reducing the cost of space travel, which can pave the way for the establishment of an independent economy as wide as the solar system and completely independent of the Earth, through space hotels, space missions to the Moon, Mars and beyond. These elevators will not only be used for space tourism, but will also be used for daily trips. In 2100, there will be independent and self-sufficient colonies on the Moon and even Mars. Although their numbers and size will still be small, perhaps a few hundred people, they will need machines that can extract the necessary resources from the hearts of the planets and repair themselves. Space mining is something NASA is preparing for right now. While space elevators help support the needs of Mars colonies and asteroid mining, advances in propulsion systems will allow us to go to places in the galaxy we've never been before. Nuclear technology and powerful laser waves will pave the way to significantly reduce travel time to the farthest reaches of the Milky Way. In 2100, advanced machines and equipment will help us to answer the biggest question of humanity: are we alone in the universe?